What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the Shadowland event. This time, we're going to pick up with Shadowland Blood on the Streets. This storyline right here truly focuses on Misty Knight and a few other B-list characters. Well, I say B-list, some are C-list, but this book is all about Misty Knight. And technically, this was the best tie-in or tie-ins out of the whole Shadowland event. Everything else about Shadowland besides the main story sucked, but this one, not that bad. I actually liked it. So I do hope you enjoy today's comic book story. And if you do, hit that like button down below and subscribe. But here we go. We pick up with the character known as the Shroud. Now the Shroud is basically another Marvel's attempt to make Batman. The reason why is because he literally has the same origin as Batman. The only difference is that after his parents died, he was committed to fight crime. When he joined the cult of Kali, he learned how to fight there, but he was given a power source known as the Kiss of Kali, which then gave him the ability to enhance his eyesight. Later on, he learns he has some connection with the Dark Force, which lets him summon this thick cloud to cover his tracks. Now, the reason why we pick up with him is because he finds a dead body. With this dead body being found, it is making it seem like the Hand is responsible for the death of this B-list mobster named Mikey. Except the problem is that the Hand at this point in Shadowland only works in Hell's Kitchen, which has been renamed to Shadowland. Shroud is not in Hell's Kitchen, but also with his enhanced senses, he was able to figure out that someone is watching him from a rooftop across the street. But before he is able to figure out, that is when he is confronted by the cops, so he has to leave. We then pick up with Misty Knight, who is one of the many Marvel private investigators in comics. Misty Knight will have two stories. This one will be her first one, but we see her right now being confronted by Bobby Furtado, the brother to Mikey Furtado. He is here to ask Misty Knight to have her and Iron Fist tell Daredevil that Bobby is going to get revenge. Because remember, right now it looks like Daredevil and the Hand have killed Mikey. There is something else to point out, that Misty Knight did lose her arm by a bomb, but Tony Stark gave her a cybernetic arm. Then Iron Fist, her boyfriend, had it upgraded. She then tells Bobby that she is not going to help out with no blood war and actually ask him to leave. You then have Shroud come by and tell Misty Knight that everything she heard from Bobby is true. It does seem that he is here to have some kind of team up, but he asks Misty to talk to Daredevil since they are close. Then he leaves. We then pick up with Silver Sable, who is kind of like a mercenary of sorts. Sometimes she brings in people who are known terrorists. Right now, she is looking for a guy named Sergei, and I cannot pronounce his last name. We don't get the chance to learn much of why she is here and why she is looking for that person, except we know that she is looking for him and the story moves on. We then see Misty Knight going to meet up with Raphael, who used to be Misty Knight's old partner when she was a cop. This is her going to him asking about all of the clues about Mikey's death. Right now, it seems that the Hand has killed him. But this is the moment when you have Raphael tell Misty Knight that Mikey is not the first one to be killed by the Hand and Daredevil, pointing back to Bullseye dying back in Shadowland #1. Ever since then, a lot of people have been disappearing, and a lot of people have been found dead, with all the clues pointing at Daredevil and the Hand. So of course now, Misty Knight wants to learn more about what Daredevil and the Hand it's doing. Now, going back to Silver Sable, we see her going undercover at some club to look for Sergei. Now, the reason why she is after him is because she is supposed to bring him in for Interpol. So with her disguise, she was able to get into the club and begin her search for Sergei. Except when she finds him, well, of course, he's dead, just like the way Mikey was killed. So of course, this is telling her that maybe Daredevil and the Hand are up to something. But just like the Shroud, the police arrive at the scene, and of course she has to leave. Now once she is leaving out of the window, well, she sees an explosion happening at the Shadowland Fortress, the base that belongs to Daredevil and the Hand. We know that it has to be the moment Ghost Rider had blown up the fortress. Getting back to the Shroud, we see him going to the apartment that belongs to Bobby, the brother to Mikey, the first guy in this story. For Shroud, he wants to know who was watching him at Mikey's apartment. But of course, that is the moment you have the Shroud realize that the same person who was watching him is still watching him now. So of course, this mysterious person comes out and shoots the Shroud. Shroud is able to take the bullet, but then we learn who was watching him, and it was Paladin. Now, we don't get the chance to learn why Paladin was watching Shroud, but for the ones who don't know who Paladin is, well, Paladin was a villain of Daredevil and actually first appeared back in Daredevil number 150. Paladin is a mercenary, and his job ties into the main plot of why he is here and why he is watching Shroud. Of course, this begins a battle between the two characters. Now, something else to point out is that Paladin does have superhuman strength, super speed, and the list goes on. Except, after a few pages, we see Shroud being able to beat Paladin and being able to take him somewhere else so they can have a chat. We then jump back over to Misty Knight, who is right now breaking into the NYPD crime lab. Now, I mean, she went undercover and she went there to look at the body of Mikey to get some clues from it. Now, while she is in there and digging around, she learns that the NYPD did not even try to do an autopsy at all on the body of Mikey, except that is when she finds something that doesn't add up and could mean that the Hand and Daredevil actually did the killing to Mikey. We then get back to the Shroud and Paladin, who is right now wondering why in the world Paladin was following him around. That is when we learn that Paladin was hired by Mikey to actually kill his brother Bobby. Remember, Mikey was the first guy to die in our story, and his brother Bobby went to go see Misty and ask for her help. Apparently, Mikey hired Paladin to kill Mikey's brother Bobby. Paladin was paid half of the money that was promised to him before Mikey died, but Mikey died, and Paladin is wondering if Bobby has his money, thinking that Bobby got word about it and had his brother killed. Now, we know Bobby was concerned about the death of Mikey, but these guys don't know that yet. They don't know that Bobby went to Misty Knight. Shroud thinks that they should go talk to Bobby to get some more clues of what is going on here. Now, Misty Knight is back at her place looking back over some of the clues that she has gathered. With those clues, she learned that there is no way the Hand is going around killing random monsters. The way these wounds look, they look amateur, not like a professional ninja would be able to do, except that is the moment you have the Hand come by and surprise her. They are only here to tell Misty Knight that they did not kill Mikey and that she needs to stop her investigation, and that they are going to find the person who is going around framing them. Now, once the Hand has left Misty Knight, well, that is when she calls up Bobby to tell him that he could be in danger. Except that is when Bobby tells Misty Knight that he does not believe his life is in that high level of danger. Except when he walks outside his bedroom, well, he sees that someone has killed all of his men. So now it is just him. But that is when he learns that the Hand is there. Of course, they're about to kill him because it seems that maybe Bobby is the one who is framing the hand. Now, Silver Sable calls to the person from Interpol who hired her to bring in her target, Sergei. But of course, when she found him, well, Sergei was dead. To the Interpol agent, he thinks that Silver Sable killed Sergei because his crimes were so outrageous. She's calling this agent to ask if she will still get paid even though her target was killed. But of course, to the agent, he is not going to give her the money since he thinks that she killed Sergei. So for her to get paid, Silver Sable has to find the person who killed Sergei. Back at Bobby's apartment, we see Paladin go back to the apartment to see if what Shroud said is true. Maybe Bobby could help them figure out what is going on with all of the killings. Except Paladin finds the dead body of Bobby and also the phone of Bobby that he had just called Misty Knight. That is when Misty Knight walks into the room and she thinks that Paladin had killed Bobby. But of course, Paladin says that she can ask Shroud to prove that he is innocent. But before they can discuss anything else, well, that is when a bunch of Bobby's men break into the room to shoot at them. But in the beginning of the 3rd chapter, we do get a quick glimpse of some ninjas going around killing some people in a random alleyway. Now at first, it does look like the Hand, but we are going to learn that these guys are not the Hand. Finally getting back to Misty Knight and Paladin as they are trying to escape the men of Bobby, because Bobby's men think that these two were the ones to kill Bobby, except we know that they weren't the ones, and they are trying to figure out who is going around killing mobsters in the city. So you have the two of them work together to deal with these guys, hoping to find a way to escape from these guys. Except one of these guys realize that someone is coming behind them and taking them all out. Of course, it is Silver Sable, who is here to help Misty Knight and Paladin out, but also they can help her figure out who killed her target. So she is helping, but at the same time, she's only helping for her own needs. But getting back to the guy who was killed in the alleyway, well, Shroud is watching over the cops taking the body away, except he tells us that the first few bodies we got or saw were all mobsters. This guy wasn't. But the question is, who is framing the Hand for all of these killings? This leads us back to Misty Knight, Silver Sable, and also Paladin. We see them hanging out in Silver Sable's base. This is them trying to figure out who killed Bobby, who killed Sergei, who also killed Mikey as well. Now, Silver Sable was able to find Misty Knight and Paladin was because when Misty Knight went to the morgue to look at the body of Mikey, Silver Sable was there too under disguise and saw Misty investigating the recent dead bodies and followed Misty to see what Misty knew, except here they are. And all they know is that the Hand is innocent, but no idea who is killing everyone, which Misty Knight thinks that it has to be Mr. Negative because he has been trying to expand his gang territory. And we saw that in Shadowland Spider-Man #1. Mr. Negative has been battling against the Hand because they have been giving him a hard time to expand his gang territory. So of course, you have the three of them go their separate ways to figure out if it's true that Mr. Negative is behind all of this. Getting back to the Shroud, we see him going to a warehouse that was rented out by the guy that was killed in the alleyway. Come to find out that he was not a monster, but instead he was selling some illegal kind of porn that I'm not going to say on here. But this guy is different from the rest of the dead bodies that have been found, meaning that he was not a mobster. Now, Misty Knight goes back to Raphael, her cop buddy, to see that what her and the rest of the heroes think is true, that Mr. Negative is the one behind all the killings to frame the Hand. Except Raphael doesn't care, because to him, all the dead bodies are people who have done something horrible. So to him, why should they waste the manpower on bad people, but also because it is the Hand. To Misty Knight, Raphael is not acting right because usually he would handle things like this, but he doesn't care at all. Now, Paladin went to Chinatown to see if Mr. Negative was the one behind all of the killing and framing of the hand, since Chinatown is technically owned by Mr. Negative, so it makes sense for him to come here. But that is when you have the hand appear to begin to fight against Paladin. But while the two sides are fighting against each other, well, the hand mentioned that Paladin is digging into the hand's problem, something they are trying to fix. Meaning that they know they are being framed, and now Paladin knows they are being framed. And you have Shroud come in and save Paladin, but you have Paladin tell Shroud that him and the ladies, Misty Knight and Silver Sable, have concluded that it must be Mr. Negative. With Silver Sable, she was able to contact someone to give her some information to see if there is a connection between all of the dead bodies besides them being bad people. Well, come to find out there is. We don't know what it is, but it makes Silver Sable run to tell Misty Knight. To close on the third chapter, we see someone go on to attack Misty Knight. We see her being attacked by some random men. Of course, this is them going after her because she's investigating all of the dead bodies, except something I may forgot to mention is that she is pregnant. So with her being beat up on, it is not just her life that could be in danger, but the baby as well. We then pick up with Misty Knight being in a hospital. With her being there, well, we come to find out after the beating, she is okay. You also have Iron Fist show up because that is his girlfriend and baby. So it is him showing concern for the woman he loves so dearly. Skipping through some panels, we then see Raphael leave after checking up on his old friend, but that is when you have the story reveal that we have a fake nurse in the room. The reason why I say there's a fake nurse is because we see that Silver Sable had once again pretended to be a nurse so she could get close to Misty Knight. Remember that she had found out something important that she thinks Misty Knight should see, so she gives Misty Knight some kind of file that shows Misty Knight what she expected is true, except of course, to keep our interest in the story, we don't get the chance to learn about what she is seeing. The next page, we see that Silver Sable has someone named Tyler call up someone to tell them about another target, possibly for whoever is behind this to go after. She then tells him to leave because things are going to pop off soon. Then we skip over to the group of ninjas who we have been seeing, but these guys of course are not part of the hand. They're the ones who have been going around killing people and blaming the hand. This is the moment we find out that Tyler, Silver Sable's friend, had given them a target of another bad person to kill. Once this group of ninjas get inside the place, when they think they have found their target and stab their target, well, they come to find out that the body in front of them is fake. And they come to find out they have been played by Misty Knight, Silver Sable, Paladin, and the Shroud. But we come to find out these ninjas have a Bronx accent. So of course, these guys are most definitely not part of the hand. There is a point where you have the story give us a quick fight scene between the two sides, except you have the fight stop because you have them reveal who is behind all of this. Of course, it is a bunch of police officers. One of those police officers who is in charge is Raphael, Misty Knight's cop friend. It makes sense if you follow all of the breadcrumbs left behind, except you have Raphael explain why he is doing all of this for. All about the idea that the people they have been killing are people who have done horrible things and they keep getting free out of the justice system. This is the moment you have Misty Knight tell Raphael and the rest of the cops to turn themselves in, but of course they're like, no. All of the evidence points to Daredevil and the Hand. Also, who's going to believe a bunch of low-level heroes and mercenaries over the cops? Except that is the moment you have the Hand bust in because they're upset with the fact Raphael and his group of cops went around killing people in their name. So of course, they came here to kill the cops. but the heroes are not going to allow that to happen in front of them. So we do get a bunch of fight things happening in the next few pages of this book. Honestly, it is nice to see the heroes take on the Hand and also take on the dirty cops. This is probably one of the few times I actually like Paladin or I like Shroud in a comic book. The ladies, I have liked them a lot of other times, but the other two usually I don't. Either way, the fight ends with the heroes being able to beat the cops and the Hand, except then Misty Knight gets taken at gunpoint. This is how the book ends, with Misty Knight being taken at gunpoint by her friend Raphael, where he thinks that he is going to be able to walk away free, except when he gets outside, he is surrounded by a bunch of cops. The reason why, because Misty Knight was smart enough to call up Ben Urich. I think at this point, he is no longer working at the Daily Bugle. He has his own company now. But Ben Urich is known for writing big news that expose a bunch of bad people. So of course, Raphael has no choice here but to give up, but he doesn't. So Misty Knight has to use her hand to break free and take him down. And the book kind of ends right there. And honestly, I like this tie-in. Tell you the truth, this is probably the best tie-in of all Shadowland. Like Shadowland, the main story was interesting, but the tie-ins, literally most of the tie-ins were trash. Except this one and like the Daredevil books tie-ins as well. But anyways, this is where we're going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel, for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's video.